the emotional experiences, like how they impact the education and success of Black students. There are a lot of Black students that have a lot of very diverse challenges at home. They have some of them they only eat at school. I've talked to some students. Some of them they're staying with their grandparents for long term because their mom is in jail or their dad is not there, and all of this other stuff. So I think that kind of impacts students on when they come to school, how they perform. When they come to school, they don't want to do this worksheet that I handed them, or they don't want to do this packet that I want to do, because they're in the back of their mind thinking about when they get home how challenging and how tough it is going to be. Sometimes school is their only safe place, and so I try to make it fun, I try to make it entertaining, and I try to make it feel safe and welcoming. So when I think about like this, I think about my students and the challenges that they go through every day and every week, because they're just seventh graders. They're just trying to be kids, but they have so much baggage that they bring with them as students.
We are back. I'm Dr. Charles Cole III, the founder and executive director of Energy Converters. And what we do is we work with young people and people in the community around building agency, because we want to see our communities be better. We want to see education be better. And I'm blessed and honored to have two of some of the dopest people that I know on this session with me. We got one, Erin Simmons, who is just brilliant, is about to graduate and go do great things, start grad school. I'm just extremely proud of her. And we got Darius Lewis, who is just equally as talented and is on his way to becoming a teacher. He's wrapping up his student teaching now. And Darius is going to lead us off with our first question. We want to have a platform where we can have these agentic conversations, have some critical thinking, but also, just be in community with each other. So Darius, the first question that we had that you gave us was, how important are mentors for you? And why is this the question today, Darius?
It's the question for today for me because there are a lot of people that in my life that's really helped me. So I wanted to see if there's people in the audience that do you have people that have helped you too?
Okay. Very good, man. Very good. So just, earlier when we did the first take of this, you started to mention a person on campus that you could go to and talk. How did things change for you when this person showed up in your life? And how did that help you in any way?
Yeah, I think she helped instill a little bit more confidence in me and open discussion topics. One of the classes where we were kind of having a little back and forth kind of fun, where she kind of just was asking like why, continuously, like why, just asking me why in front of the whole class. And at first I didn't know if I wanted to keep going, but she kept pulling and pulling, and so that kind of helped instill confidence in me in the long run.
Okay, so just so I can be clear as I throw this question over to you, Erin, there was a professor that you had that challenged you, challenged your thinking, and you found value in that. And it sounds like you guys have built up a relationship. So, Erin, for you, based off what you're hearing from Darius, like, how important are mentors for you, and or for Black students or whomever, just in general?
I think it's very important to have a holistic range of mentors. So having some that can support you personally as well as some that can support you professionally and academically. And I would say those academic professors are so much more important, especially since as Black students, a lot of us are first gen or going into things on our own. And I would say for me personally, you can't want something that you don't know exists. And I think that's where mentors come in, being able to put you in positions to want something, to know something, and to be able to do something that you didn't already know that you could do or you didn't know that you had access to. That's exactly how I am where I am in my research career, is through a mentor that was able to let me know that I had the agency to create my own study, gave me the resources to do so, and then saw me all the way through.
Oh, nice, nice. I love that. And I mean, Darius, you heard her answer, like, answering your own question, like, obviously you think mentors are important, um, but you chose this as a topic. Like, why do you think like this topic of mentorship is so important?
I think it's very important because they can shape your career. Quite honestly, because I knew where I've wanted. I've always haven't known where I want to land up in education, and so I'm doing my student teaching. I'm kind of figuring it out. She's kind of influencing a couple other people of me to go to grad school and do like higher education, student affairs, and then after. all of that is done and said with like, where do I want to be at? And so they kind of encourage me and kind of give me a wide range of opportunities to really choose from, and kind of push me a little bit further than where I was before. So I'm sure that a lot of people have a bunch of mentors that push them or give them an idea of thinking of where they haven't thought of something before in that way.
So I think one, I just love hearing you both. Here's what I'm surmising from this, right? And especially if there's going to be young people watching this, because y'all are both really successful young people yourselves. Is one, whether you feel like you're the smartest or not the smartest, or whatever the case is, everybody can benefit from having a mentor. You need somebody that's been there before, that kind of has been through the path, that can give you some guidance or some feedback. Um, Two, you have to have the agency to go out and get a mentor. If maybe you're lucky like Darius and somebody finds you and challenges you, or Erin, where somebody, in her research pod was like, hey, you got this and you can do it. But I will say in my life, I've had to go out and take mentors a lot of the time. I had to be like, hey, I like what you do. Um, can I take you to coffee? Can I buy you lunch and just kind of pick your brain? A good tool, a good agentic tool is these things called informational interviews. Are you both familiar with informational interviews?
I'm not.
Good. I'm glad that you're not. So it's a teaching moment. An informational interview is where you're not really trying to get a job. You're not trying to get anything from the person. You really just want to get to pick their brain. And it's like, hey, I just want to, can we meet at Starbucks? I'll get you, and pay people. If you got it, pay. Is just invest, show people that their time matters. But it's an opportunity for you to just sit and pick somebody's brain without a lot of pressure. And it'll build you up. So I'm hearing just a lot of agency in what you said, Darius. What is your message to people watching and listening to this? Like, you do a lot of stuff. You have a whole, if you all don't know, Darius has a TikTok. What's your TikTok, Darius?
It's D_Lewis21, two eyes.
And in that TikTok, you are dedicating a lot of time to keeping young Black males in college, like how they get through, what they need to do. So if you were coaching a freshman, an incoming freshman, what is your parting thought, and what would you tell them about mentors?
I would tell them to go, like what you said exactly, Dr. Cole. Go pick their brains. Go know what they're thinking, how they're thinking, because again, you may have not thought of it in a way that they have thought of it. And so I've had multiple conversations with mentors, or just with just in general professors after class, before class, just asking them questions where no other student might have asked them for. Or you might have to do that thing that Dr. Cole said: take the mentorship, go take them out, go show them that you are interested in their work and in their class. And so I think that's very important as like an incoming freshman, trying to find where you want to be, your interest at, and needing that help and that guidance. Because my freshman year, I never had it all figured out. So I never knew where I wanted to be. I thought about changing my major. I didn't. But the people around you in college kind of help you. The mentors that you choose to select really help and make you better, and be able to hone where you want to be and how you want to get there.
Awesome. And as we wrap up this mentorship piece, I'll add this and throw it to you, Erin, to give us the final word on the mentorship piece. I would say this also: everybody don't have to be a conscious mentor, meaning like everybody's not going to have the time to meet with you and spend that time with you. And it's okay. Don't take it personally. People, you like them because they're important people, because they're doing well. Their time might be limited, but you can look up what they've done. A lot of people have written books, or a lot of people have content that's out there. I have a lot of mentors that don't know me, people that I watch and that I listen and who I read and things in that way. So, ask somebody, they can say no. Do not get in your feelings if they say no. Important people tend to be really good with protecting their time. So don't take it personally. On this topic of mentorship, where would you like to leave us, Erin? Any parting thoughts or words of wisdom for some of the people in your community that you might support, or some of the girls that you want to see, be able to have more offered to them?
Yeah, I would definitely like to say that you're going to find bits and pieces of yourself in the people that you're talking to. A lot of my career has been tailored from things that I've heard from folks. And I'm like, oh, I like that part of your career, but I don't like that part. Then I talk to someone else and I'm like, oh, I like that part. And that matches really well with what I heard before. And that's kind of how I ended up where I am. And so when you're listening to people, it is okay to not take all of their advice or listen to everything that they're saying in the same way. Kind of cherry pick what makes sense for you, what resonates for you, and use that for yourself. And you'll be surprised on how much people like to talk about themselves. And so you're going to find a lot of people that are going to be willing to have you listen to them as they talk about their experiences and support you in your process.
That's awesome. So now we are throwing it to the matriarch of energy converters. She too brought a question. Now that's a doozy. It's a big one. So I'm gonna pass the mic and the ball to you, and Darius and I will be ready. But the question that we got: what do you think or feel when you consider how school, home, and emotional experiences impact the education and success of Black students from urban areas? Now, before we get into like answering this is a very thoughtful question. What's the context behind this question, and then throw it to Darius so he can take a crack at answering it.
Yeah, so this question comes from a lot of what my research is rooted in, and looking at how it's known that a lot of Black people in urban communities experience high levels of adversity, and those adversities do affect our success and ability to obtain higher education and then get through it and then be able to pursue high level careers. And so I've done a study looking at how all of these experiences affect actual success from the perspective of students and educators. But I just kind of want to know from your personal experience, what do you think or feel when you hear about how those holistic experiences affect you or how they have affected you and where you are currently, positive or negative?
Yeah. So when I think of this, I think if you asked me before I started student teaching, I think my answer would be a little bit different. But since I've started student teaching, with like the the emotional experiences, like how they impact the education and success of Black students, there are a lot of Black students that have a lot of very diverse challenges at home. They have some of them they only eat at school. I've talked to some students. Some of them they're staying with their grandparents for long term because their mom is in jail or their dad is not there and all of this other stuff. So I think that kind of impacts students on when they come to school, how they perform. When they come to school, they don't want to do this worksheet that I handed them, or they don't want to do this packet that I want to do because they're in the back of their mind thinking about when they get home how challenging and how tough it is going to be. Sometimes school is their only safe place, and so I try to make it fun. I try to make it entertaining, and I try to make it feel safe and welcoming. So when I think about um, like this, I think about my students and the challenges that they go through every day and every week because they're just seventh graders. They're just trying to be kids, but they have so much baggage that they bring with them as students.
Yeah, I'll answer it for you too, Aaron, and I'll give you some personal stuff with it. I mean, it's what I study as well. And I wrote a whole book about it, right? And in that book, there was this term that I coined called the Black Achievement Trauma Tax, and it's exactly this question. And it's basically saying, for even those high achieving Black kids that grew up in those type of environments, there's an emotional tax and toll that gets paid, and it gets paid far beyond your adolescence, deep into your 30s, 40s, and 50s if you don't deal with it. And so what do I think about when that I grew up homeless, my parents were in and out of jail, the pressure for me to get through school, like in my mind, what I told my, if I don't graduate and do what I need to do, I'm gonna die. And it could sound extreme, but I had a lot of friends around me die. And growing up in Oakland, I had to have something that kept me super focused and there. Now I will say, as I get older and you get that counseling or you see things differently, you have to mature beyond that. Everything that happens to me can't be through the lens of it happened because I'm Black or it happened because I'm a Black man or this, that, and the third, right? There's a big difference. I'm glad I get to say this to two young people. When I was you all's age, the bad things that happened that were going on in my life were happening to me. I was a passenger. It didn't have much to do with me. But then as I got your age and got a little older, I started making mistakes and I I had to be responsible for the things that I did to myself that put me in those positions and those mistakes. And so they might have came because of that trauma at home or that emotional experiences and things like that. But it was still my responsibility to figure that out. It's not the world's fault that those things are happening. And then I think another thing that happened, and again, I lived in 4 shelters, but I started traveling the world. And when I started to see poverty in other parts of the world that put my stuff to shame, where I still was living like kings and queens of yesteryear, it just helped me put things in perspective. So I think Darius and myself will now turn this question to you. Like, what do you think when you think of Phil, you know, when you consider these things about growing up in East Oakland, school, home, emotional experiences, and education? Like, you know, why don't you go where you need to go with that, Erin? I think we both want to hear from you.
Yeah, I think this question also comes from my psychology background. So sorry if it was kind of a change in topics. But when I think of some of the things that, I saw, it kind of definitely, school became a way out for me. And it was something that kept me very grounded. But I would say when I think of these topics now as an adult, I no longer kind of think back on what I went through, because it is similar to what you said, Dr. Cole. It's one of those things you kind of have to get over and work through and stop like feeling a victim of. So I started thinking about what can I do and what can other educators and other people that are centered around supporting students, what is our role in supporting students, knowing that they're going through these things that have nothing, that are outside of the classroom and outside of the school. Like, what is our role in supporting them? And I think that's kind of the question that really wrecks my brain as I enter this next stage in like social work and school social work, is trying to figure out where is my role in that and how I can support with some of the things that are kind of beyond me and beyond the walls of the school and what I can do. And so that's kind of like the first place that my mind goes when talking about this topic, is just some of those action plans and next steps. If you guys have anything to say to that as well.
Anything that you got, Darius? You don't have to. She just opened it up
Yeah,
to
no, I
you.
don't have anything.
Okay. Well, I would say this. I think one, I love that we're doing this, and I love just being able to talk to you all, and we're just on the same plane and the same level. And I think like I said, I just think that y'all are brilliant. And what I want to say, and I've said this to you all off camera, and I'll say it on, but there's gonna be some other people hearing. Pressure has a place and is good for you in a lot of different ways. But don't let it succumb you. The sun will shine in the next day, and don't put on yourself that you got to be perfect to kind of get through things. And you're going to make mistakes. And the people listening, you guys are going to make mistakes. Agency is about knowing what's good for you and knowing what's not, and getting the resources you need, or recognizing when something's no longer serving you. My trauma and pain served me for a long time. It pushed me in a lot of positive ways until it didn't. And it's still there. Like it's never gonna, these things are a part of me, and I'm always gonna honor it. I'm always gonna have that connection. But I have to realize too, when I got to a place where I was hurting myself. And I don't want you hurting yourself. I don't want the narrative of, because I'm Black, because I came up in this environment, like I just have to endure this type of pain. I don't think that it's I think we gotta let that go. It has its place, but it also has a place where you can kind of, it can be in the bag, but it can't drive the car anymore. It can have a back seat. You can be aware of it, but you got driver's license now. You know, y'all are building your own driver's license. You should be driving, not that.
Is there
go ahead.
Is there a such thing as good pressure?
Absolutely.
You mentioned pressure.
There's a such thing as good stress. There's distress and there's eustress. So eustress comes when things are like, I started as a psych major too, by the way, before I switched to poli-sci. So I got you, homie. But yeah, eustress is like stuff that, you know, you like, think of like euphoria, like a euphoric, like very like these good feelings or things like that, right? Like when a lot of things are going your way, and like, let's say you got the honor roll, you captain of the basketball team, you got a beautiful girlfriend, all that stuff, that comes with its own inherent pressures. And it's difficult sometimes for people to deal with those pressures because they can't go talk to their friends about it, because it seems like they bragging, but it's still pressure that comes with that. And I think it ties back to your original question, Darius, around why it's important to have mentors. You want to have some mentors that's more successful than you as well, so they can help us deal with the success. I know all about dealing with struggle. I can tell you how to hustle and grind all the time. But when I first started making 6 figures, or I first started my company, I didn't know how to be successful because I didn't have, my peer set wasn't successful in the same type of way. You know, you might be, I don't know if all your homies that you grew up with go to the same caliber of school or are thinking about the things you're thinking about. And that don't make nobody better. It's just that the problems shift. The problems are different. I got When I was younger, I had friends that sold drugs. I can't relate to them problems because I don't sell drugs. Like I'm not trying to glorify or I'm not trying to put anything on a level different. It's just that as you move through life, there will be different types of stress and pressure, bro. It will be negative pressure, there will be positive pressure, but pressure is still pressure. So find healthy ways to deal with it. And you can always call me. Now, you might have to text me because I don't always answer my phone, but y'all can both text. With that being said, Darius, do you have any final thoughts before we let you go? And then Erin, our matriarch, will let you take us home.
No further questions. That was a question I was asking.
Well, no, and I did a bad job of setting you up on there. Do you have final thoughts for the people that's listening that you want to, the message you want to give out for the folks that's listening to you right now?
Oh, yeah, sure. I would say don't be afraid to talk to your professors. Don't be afraid to open up, because there are people out there that can help you, that know that they've struggled at a time before, and you might be struggling right now. They're overwhelmed with success, you're overwhelmed with success, and they probably have been overwhelmed with success too. So kind of talking to those mentors, talking to those close people that can help you guide the way that you want to go to, because you can't do everything by yourself. You can try, but I would not advise for you all, whoever's listening, do everything by yourself and kind of putting all that pressure on yourself by yourself. If you have people, if you have resources, use them. So that was my final words.
Awesome. I guess my final thought in this, before we throw it to Erin, is just when you have smart people around you, pick their brains. And smart looks a lot of different ways. I got a bunch of degrees, but when I bought this house, it's first time owning a home. My cousin, he passed away during COVID, but like, he was a firefighter. He didn't do formal education, but when something broke here, I was a dummy and he was a genius. And, you know, he taught me something. And just for y'all, for when you get your first house, you want to have WD-40 and duct tape. Duct tape is for things that's not supposed to move, that's moving. And WD-40 is for things that's supposed to move, that's not. It's the first rule that you need to know. You'd be surprised at how much WD-40 and duct tape fix. But I'm just blessed to be in y'all's presence and ride you all's coattails. And I think y'all are brilliant. So Erin Simmons, what is your final thought to everybody watching us and listening, and the people that showed up for you? Her last videos went viral and all that good stuff. So here's some of that you stress right now. Here's some of that good pressure. Take us home and leave a final thought for all those folks that might be looking up to you.
I say my final thoughts are just to play into your strengths and know what you're good at, know what your weaknesses are, continue to nurture them, and find people around you that can also play into your strengths and help you nurture your weaknesses, and find your place in anything that you want to do. Find where it resonates with you, where it speaks with you, continue to reach out to people, and continue to find your own motivation within what you want to do and what you want to seek out.
Oh man. And with that being said, for Darius and Erin, I am Charles, and we will see you all next time on the Agentic Show, where we'll have some other wonderful young people from Energy Converters. We also don't just focus on young and youth. We focus on community. So hopefully you'll start to see some parents and grandparents and other people that have some agency to give out, so we can start making sure that we got the type of education and communities that we want and we deserve. With that being said, y'all, peace out.